We're going to take a look at putting measurements into ChimSpect. It's important not to put the inch sign or the feet sign or any verbiage in where you would put a measurement, because if that field is used to do math, it will cause the math to work improperly or not work at all. It could also cause your report not to save the measurements properly. So when you're putting in a measurement, you can put a decimal in, but you cannot use the two little tags for inches or the single tag for feet. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to one of those fields that is used for math. We're going to go to your flue shape. Let's take this out of here. Notice how these boxes down here change when I add a flue shape. Now in our industry, all the flues are either rectangular, even if they're square, they're a rectangle, a circle, or an oval, and our system will do the math for any of those shapes. Let's put rectangle in first, and notice now that we have the internal flue length and width. If it was circle, it's just going to say the diameter. If it's oval, the flue major diameter, the flue minor diameter, and it can calculate the math from that. Let's go back to rectangular. The flue internal length, let's say it's 10.25 inches, so it's 10 1/4 inches by 10 1/4 inches. That's what most of our flues around here are, that we call the 12 by 12 flue tiles. We call them 12 by 12s because that's the size cap that fits on it. But again, you cannot put in the inch sign or the foot sign for that. Let's go to the fireplace and let's see how some of this math works. Let's put the width of the fireplace in as 40 inches. Let's put the height in as 30 inches, and immediately we're going to see some exclamation marks come up. I'm going to click on that exclamation mark and say, hey, this is the flue area in square inches. It's not adequate for this 1200 square inch opening. The flue is undersized by 12.45%. As your guys are continually putting measurements in ChimSpect, they're going to become more and more familiar with code. So let's make this fireplace width something that will at least work with this. Let's take this down to 34, and now we pass. NFPA considers how close the combustible trim is from the opening of the fireplace by how much it projects out. Let's say that that combustible trim projects out more than 1/2 inch, and our clearance to our combustible trim, let's say that's 8 inches, it's going to fail. Let's say it's 10 inches, still going to fail. 12 inches, it's going to pass. Well, 112 inches, yeah, that ought to pass. 12 inches, it's going to pass. So as your guys are entering in these measurements, again, they're going to become more and more familiar with code. We'll slide down here a little bit further. The hearth extension, where it extends out either side of the fireplace, and if they're not even, you would put in the smallest one. 12 would pass, 11 wouldn't. 111 definitely will. Firebox depth, firebox has to be at least 20 inches. It would fail at 19. Let's put it into 20. Throat size. Now, a lot of guys in the industry aren't sure what I'm asking for when I say throat size. What NFPA 211 is looking for is the distance from the bottom of the lintel to where the damper starts in the fireplace. That's your throat size. Your throat size is required to be 8 inches. That would pass. If it's 7 inches, it doesn't pass. according to the current NFPA 211 standards. Let's go down to smoke chamber height. This is the height from the damper to the bottom of the first flue tile. This is supposed to be equal to or less than the width of the fireplace. So let's put in 35, it's going to fail. 34, it's going to pass. Again, it is very important, do not put in inch symbols, foot symbols, or any verbiage, anything other than a numeric character or a decimal, and it could cause your report not to save properly. It could make it so that the math is not going to work,